Hi, I'm Gemma and I'm a physiotherapist and also a life coach. And I'm offering support for people with long COVID at the moment. And Rachel, who's with me today, is somebody who I've been working alongside for a few months. And we just thought we'd put a bit on camera to share how this process has been and how she's been through it. Hi, Rachel. Do you want to tell us a little bit about the symptoms that you were experiencing before you started having any support for your long COVID?
Yeah, yeah. So I got ill last April time, and I wasn't really sick, but I was quite unwell for a couple of weeks. Not necessarily with the classic symptoms, but symptoms that are now recognised, kind of the breathlessness, chest pain, um, coughing, a bit of a temperature, but nothing really extreme. But then I had a lot of other symptoms as well. And as those kind of 2 weeks passed, the symptoms didn't go. And then a month passed and the symptoms hadn't gone, and kind of there were more that were added. And basically, kind of 2 months afterwards, I still really wasn't well. I was still incredibly tired and still had lots of different physical symptoms. And I'd gone from being someone who was very fit, very active, to being someone that got exhausted just climbing the stairs, walking to the bottom of the garden and back. So, and that's kind of the situation I was in when Gemma and I sort of met up.
Okay, and thanks for that. And the different so the journey that we've been on, and you've been on, can you tell me what benefits you felt that's been for you?
Yeah, it's been amazing. So, as I said, when I met Gemma, I was really struggling with energy levels, with getting back to any sort of activity, and just with a whole host of symptoms as well. And, we've really worked on pacing. I've really learned a lot about the importance of keeping my heart rate under control and of just really gentle kind of increments. And I think that's been so helpful. And of having goals that are really achievable, and then kind of celebrating kind of achieving them and getting back into normal life, but just understanding that it's a long process, really.
If you were somebody who was thinking about looking for some support, some help, or was struggling with long COVID, what would you say would be the advantage of having some support versus not?
I think it's really helpful to have someone who can just go into the research for you, because when you're exhausted and there's a lot of brain fog, it's actually really difficult to take on all the information, and it's really difficult if without a medical background to understand some of the information that's coming forward. And so I think that's really helpful. I think it's also really helpful to have someone who's outside of you who can see where you've come from and where you are now, because I think the incremental changes are quite slow, and so sometimes you can really feel like I'm not improving. But when you've got someone else outside, they can say, no, actually this is where you were and this is where you are now. It's really different. And I think just having that encouragement and having someone help you set goals, and then be accountable to them and celebrate with them, and then when you have kind of setbacks, to really talk through, well, why was that, did I overdo it here, are there things I need to tweak? And so I think that's what's been really helpful, is having someone just look at the situation with me and really help me make a plan, and then follow it through and be really committed to seeing it through. And actually, I'm in a completely different place now than I was when we started to work together.
So now that's the final thing. So how are you doing now? What do you want to say how you are now in terms of what you can do?
Yeah, so as I said, when we met, I was really struggling to just even, do the smallest amounts of activity. And, there'd be days where I'd feel better and I'd do something and then I'd be knocked out for the rest of the week. And now very slowly I've got to the point where I'm probably not back to where I was before, but just this week, for example, I've done a half an hour swim, I've done 2 half-an-hour cycles, went on a 10-mile walk with a friend yesterday, and actually I feel okay today. And any one of those things would have been unthinkable even just a few months ago. And so we've got there by literally just spending, 2 minutes of activity, 5 minutes of activity, just increasing it really gently, increasing the heart rate really gently, and getting me back to where I wanted to be, which was being able to exercise regularly and it not then lead me to being completely exhausted for days afterwards. And actually, I think, pretty much I am where I wanted to get to. And so I think I'd really encourage anyone that's really struggling and looking to get back to some sort of physical activity, some sort of normality, to be able, yeah, to seek Gemma out, because she's been
Oh,
amazing, really
thank
encouraging.
you. Thank you. Well, it's been great working with you, and all the very best for the future moving forwards. Thank you, Rachel.
Thanks, Gemma.